This is the Good Neighbor Podcast, the place where local businesses and neighbors come together. Here's your host, Regina Lee.
Well, hello, Don. I'm so happy to join with you this morning. How are you today?
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here. I'm great.
Yeah, well, I've known you a while, and I'm excited to have an opportunity to kind of give you a chance to share what you do, why you do it. So let's start with just a broad overview of your photography business and where you're based out of.
Yeah, so I am in South Charlotte, kind of the Ballantyne, Waverly area. I have been in photography just about all my life. Obviously, as a kid, things were much different when you took a picture and you had to take it to the store to be developed and wait for a week for it to come back. And if you got a hit, that was great. If most of it was a miss. But it was always a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun always to capture memories and just be able to take pictures of my family and my animals and just have fun. And so I've always enjoyed photography. And so it was just, in the last few years that I've decided to do it full time and to really run a business for it.
Well, I was looking at your website at all the different categories. Do you have a favorite topic? Because it says weddings, pets, families, headshots professionally. Kind of expand on all that.
What's funny is, believe it or not, I actually enjoy toddlers.
Oh.
And people think I'm crazy when I say that, but they are the most, I would say toddlers and pets are probably my two favorite kind of top category. They're authentic. You get what you get. And if they're
true.
If they're happy, they're happy. If they're not, they're gonna let you know they're not happy. And there's no fake, there's no it is just, you get what you get. And I love it. I think they are just there's just something about, a child or even a dog or a cat. I haven't done cats yet, but I do a lot of dogs. They're just authentic and I love it.
So I know with my work with you, most of the photography you've done has been outdoors. Mm-hmm. Do you have a studio or a way to create a studio?
I am working on that. I do have a way to create a studio. I do have a space that I can use if it was, if somebody requested that, I could. But I do like the outdoors just because it gives you such a beautiful background, especially where we live in Charlotte. It's warm all the time. So we have a lot of, a long year to kind of work outside. But I do have a studio that I could use if needed to. For sure.
Yeah, I was just thinking like for professional headshots and things like that. Very good. Tell me about your business. Maybe you can share maybe challenges or misconceptions in your industry that might be fun to kind of talk about.
It's interesting. Obviously, I will say the Charlotte market is it's a very saturated market. There's a lot of photographers out there. There's a lot of really, really good ones. And so the market is tight. And so, we'll see people post, hey, we're looking for a family photographer for this event or for that event. And, within the first 5 minutes, there's 30 some, responses. And so, you kind of have to just pick and choose which one you're kind of going to go after. But I think, a lot of times people will post, we're looking for a photographer that won't break the bank, or we're looking for, a photographer that, doesn't cost a fortune. And, I think what people realize is that we put a lot of time and money and effort into our craft, and it's not a cheap, business to have. Cameras are expensive, lenses are expensive. We have to have, insurance. We have to, advertise. I mean, there's just a lot that goes into it. I take classes, throughout. There's a company here in Charlotte called the Photo Classroom. And so am constantly trying to get better. I'm constantly trying to perfect what I do. And so there's money that goes into that. It's not cheap. It's not easy. Sometimes, you work really hard, and even after, the pictures we may take pictures for an hour, or we may take them for 30 minutes, or if we do a mini session, 15 minutes, but there's still like a couple hours of work, that goes on behind the scenes to get you, the pictures that you see. So there's a lot that goes into it. And I think people kind of think, it's just a picture. Anybody can take a picture. And that's true. Probably most everybody, especially with iPhones nowadays, most everybody can take a picture. But you're looking for a photographer for a reason. And with that, you don't want to try to find somebody that's not charging anything. You definitely want to find somebody that kind of charges middle of the ground.
So when someone, I guess for weddings, that's more normal to get out there and interview, but for, your kid's birthday party and all, what kind of questions are normal when someone's looking for a photographer? Help them kind of navigate. How do you find the right person? Because I'm sure there has to be an emotional connection, or
Definitely.
that, as well as your skill set. So talk to me
Definitely.
about that.
I think, you have to have a great online presence. And so if somebody's looking for their child's birthday party or senior pictures, you definitely want to have that portrayed on your social media and on your websites. And so I think a lot of people, because you don't get that, face-to-face introduction, or a lot of times it's not, word of mouth of, they knew somebody that used me. And so, they had a really good experience. So it has to be portrayed really well on your social media and on your website, so they can really look through. They see your style. I mean, every photographer has a different style. And so they have to really kind of bond with kind of what you put out there. Then they contact you, and, a lot of times they'll say, hey, we found you. We really like your style. We like, how you do things. We would like to, hire you to do XYZ. So I think a lot of it, because that's your first introduction, is how they find you on social media. I think that is crucial, and just making sure that, the categories that you want to really excel in are really, they give a nice breadth of what you can do. If it's a senior picture, if it's outside, a lot of pictures up, they want to be uptown, or they want to be at a school, or they want to be in a wooded area. So it just depends on what the person is looking for. I personally, especially when it comes for senior pictures, I try to do them in a way that is connected to the actual senior. Senior pictures are about the moms, and that's what I always tell my seniors. This is not even about you. This is about mom getting what she needs for her memories for your time in high school. So get over it. This is about mom. However, I do want the shoots to be about the senior, because that gets them comfortable. And just for example, I had a young man. I asked him, I said, do you play sports? Do you play an instrument? Do you have, is there something that you really are drawn to? And he loves his truck. He was all about his truck. And so we incorporated his truck into his senior pictures.
I love
And
that.
so that's something that was important to him. It was something that, he could talk about. And I have found that if you can have a conversation with them about something that is important to them, they'll start to relax. They'll give you more authentic smiles. They'll have a more genuine approach, and it'll end up having much better pictures than if you don't have that connection. So that's something I personally try to do, is I try to understand who my person is that I'm going to be photographing.
That's wonderful. Well, I know, as our photographer for the two magazines, Waxhaw Marvin Living and South Charlotte Neighbors, that kind of interview has to happen each month. And
Yes.
You're so great at that, about figuring out, should they be in their house, on the front porch, out, having fun? Yeah, because it is ultimately their style as well, and you're trying to pull out from them.
Correct.
So I love how you make that connection. So outside of work, what do you do? What do you enjoy doing in your free time?
So I have 2 dogs, which I just adore. My husband and I, we do like to travel. We like to go places, and I'm a runner, so we run in the mornings, early in the darkness of the mornings. But it's just about family, being around our family. We have 2 grandbabies that we will drive to the ends of the earth to go see and hang out with, and just kind of build memories with. So just being around our family, we just absolutely love, and our kids, wherever our kids are, they're spread out. So we travel to go find our kids and go force them to hang out with us.
Well, hey, I get that. So in closing, how do people find you, Dawn? And first, let me ask you, what does PM Dawn mean? The PM part.
So PM Dawn is actually, it's funny, it's a reference. There was a 90s band in the 90s called PM Dawn, and they had some great music. Unfortunately, they're not around anymore, but I also thought it was kind of a play off of my name. My name's Dawn, and so kind of morning and night. And so that was just kind of how it came to be, was like PM Dawn, photography day or night. But then the PM Dawn thing was, and I will say I've had of all the clients I've probably had about 3 that knew the reference to the 90s band. They get extra credit for that.
That is great. Sorry, I've never heard of them.
That's okay.
All right.
Most people haven't.
How do people find you? Obviously, they can Google PM Dawn Photography. Do you have a Facebook page?
I have Facebook and I have Instagram. So they can find PM Dawn Photography on both of those, and they can kind of see my what I do.
That is awesome. Well, thank you so much. I really enjoyed talking to you. I love having you as someone I work with and that I call friend. So thank you for your time.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to the Good Neighbor Podcast. To nominate your favorite local businesses to be featured on the show, go to gnpsouthcharlotte.com. That's gnpsouthcharlotte.com, or call 980-351-5719.